Once upon a time, well, 2 days ago, in a land far away, well, in the scrap drawer to my left, there lived a crafty crafter named Nikki. After a long, successful day of crafting and filming, and waiting an exorbitant time for said filming to upload and process on YouTube, she decided to have a quick straighten before filming yet another giveaway drawing. As she casually reached down to open the scrap drawer, as she had a million times in the past, she was met with resistance. The scraps inside had scrunched themselves up, it seems, and had built a blockade in protest of the tight quarters. After a second tug, it became clear that this would be a battle not easily won. She tugged and tugged, ramming a ruler, scissors, and anything she could get her hands on into the fortification. She struggled against 3 years' worth of torn and sliced off edges, cut off bits, tossed aside ephemera scraps, and other fodder. Finally, in a grand display of liberation, she flung the drawer open, and I really do mean flung, liberating all manner of paper, fragment, and flotsam wildly into the open. Her brief moment of elation soon turned to anguish as she stared at the carnage of the battle and realized there was no quick solution to her present conundrum. After regrouping and pondering a moment, or many moments and a top off of the steamy brain fuel, she knew that she had arrived at a precipice and action must be taken. She considered for a mere moment, well, actually, for a good long talking herself into and out of it while, binning it all and making a fresh start. Poppycock! She did not exclaim. She would not get rid of the stratified layers of pieces and bits of years of memorable and well-cherished projects with such utter recklessness. Also, she'd be in quite the pickle next time she needed just a few little bits for some clusters or snippets. No, as she saw it, she was at the head of a bifurcated trail and must make a choice of which path to follow. She could either try to move things around, create a bit of space, and reclose the drawer, thus hiding reality for another day, or make a dramatic and concentrated effort to put to use the beautiful refuse. Alas, she mustered all her creative senses and set to work with fortitude and determination, the kind of determination that only a third ill-advised cup of coffee at 6 p.m. can truly bring about. "I shall collage it all until it is finished," she shouted in her head in a caffeine-fueled moment of absurdity. She sat staring at the piles she had sorted, her paper-cut, jittery, and nearly glued-together fingers and the calamity currently spread end-to-end on her large desk, and decided she would lay down her glue stick and scissors and revisit the situation on the morrow with a fresh perspective and certainly a fresh cup of coffee. The next morning she woke, at the crack of 8:30, with fresh conviction and put on a fresh pot of coffee. She then took a shower, made apple pie oatmeal, checked emails, responded to YouTube comments, refilled her coffee, putzed around making slides for a silly story video, and made chicken wraps for lunch. Worked on some Etsy shop business, cleared an area on the desk to do some actual work, helped her daughter with some schoolwork, checked in on the Facebook, and returned a couple of phone calls. Then she cracked open a fresh can of lime bubbly and decided she could no longer procrastinate. This, my friends, is where we join her, sitting amidst her piles, glue sticks at the ready, mostly enthusiastic, and ready to take, however delayed and postponed, action. Enjoy! Hi guys! So here I am. Got my lime bubbly. I'm going to take a sippy here. And what you see right now is an illusion. See how the borders of my desk look so straightened and cleaned? What you don't see is like the mountain range right here and then back up off of there, like all up off of there. So what I am doing is my scrap drawer. It needed to get dealt with, as you know by this point in the video. So I have made a giant amount of headway, and I've already done some work on it. Let me show you. Let me do some project share. I should have had this up here before. I've already done some work. Now, I would say the majority of the work in this video, let me set these aside for a sec, was the sorting and the cleaning and that was the majority of the work. Now, this is the fun part. This is the part I don't mind doing, but I like doing it when I'm ready to do it, not when I have to do it because I had to, like the day before. So this was a whole bunch of music sheets. So what I did was sort. I sorted my pile. Like, I'm not kidding. I went in and did whoosh, and then just literally dumped them right here. And at this point, this part of my desk right here and the surrounding Mount Fuji area over here, was all probably like 6 to 8 inches deep in scraps. And I sorted and sorted and sorted and sorted colorways and sorted, just kind of general feels of things, sorted music scraps, I sorted and I kind of came up with a general outline of a plan. And this was at the end of that, I just needed to do some actual crafting to make myself feel a little bit better about all of the not fun stuff that I had done. So what I did was I had some, so here's one of the Tracy Fox Flutterby Fussy Cut pages. And I had, for some reason, like a bunch of these printed out, but they have some of the lines in them because my printer heads needed to be cleaned. And it's not dramatic enough to the point where I wouldn't use them, but I wouldn't cut them out and make them focal pieces. So I collaged on the back, and I figure I will cut off the words here, and then I can cut them into tags or, journal cards or something. And so this is these are great substrates. This is what I'm doing is I'm going to have, you guys, I'm trying to be like Gail. You know how Gail Agostinelli is so freaking organized, and she's like, oh, I have all my baby scraps in this little Ziploc bag full of baby scraps, and then I have my white scraps in here, and and then she's like, oh, and I've done all this collaging, and I have all these great substrates. Let's pull out some of those. Or like Artie Mays does this too. Yep, I growed up when I had to deal with my scrap drawer yesterday, so here I find myself with some fun stuff, with a pile of substrates, if you will. So that's a whole bunch of music. These two, I found that I had printed out a bunch of, I think these are tailor-made journals, like a French, or some receipts, not French receipts because they're clearly in English, but it's like a receipts kit. And so I had printed them though onto just regular copy paper, and in one of my printing snafus where I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing and I just push print. So I had a whole bunch of them that are printed onto just copy, flimsy copy paper, and I didn't want to get rid of those, but so I didn't want to deal with them either. So I just chucked them in the scrap bin, where everything goes with no sense of order or purpose. Also, a couple of these came in some Happy Mail that I got that I totally forgot to film from Elizabeth in the MFMRA's group. I'm thinking that's who it was. It really wasn't identified very well. But it's Elizabeth, I'm pretty sure, from there. So I collaged them all together, and now I have this cool, and it was also onto some music paper, which you can't see because I've collaged over it now, that I had chucked in there as well. That was a misprint. Oh, there's a little corner that's coming up, so while I have it in my hands, let's just put a little dab of glue and flip that bad boy back over. There we go. So, so there's those two. And then I started going through and using some sheets. I had a couple of sheets of 12 by 12 that had some glue stuck to them and stuff that it wasn't working for the craftiness. So I glued a bunch of scraps to them in kind of general colorways, so I can cut these apart into tags and pockets and what have you. And then I did a couple of ones with just, again, these are just, oh, that one's still got a little, see, I'm going to be finding little scraps for, this was a defector. I'm going to be finding them forever. Anyway, I went ahead and did some kind of neutral pieces as well, like this. And I haven't even trimmed the edges yet or anything like that. As you can see, the edges are still all hung over. So this is the goal. The goal is to get some more of these done. Now, I have sorted my giant scrap bin into, like I said, colorways. Pardon me as I'm like bending over to grab what I wanted to work on first. And believe me when I say that, pardon me, I was bending over again. Believe me when I say that there is a little bit of everything, literally a little bit of everything in this bin. Well, not anymore. You wouldn't even believe it if you saw it now. So offcuts of stuff. Here's like, okay, here's some Mrs. Coggs images that clearly I did not use. Here's some copies of, what are these? Oh, music dictionary pages. So I have all kinds of stuff and junk. So this first pile, and this only is the first pile because it just happened to be on top, gets the first attention. There are little tiny scraps and larger scraps. I haven't even sorted them out that way. So we're just gonna look at, I've got little fun stuff. I'm gonna set the like little, those will be like smaller little emblem things go on top. Clearly, those will go on top. Some of these little guys, medium-sized stuff. So we're just gonna do some collaging. Now, I do really enjoy this part of it. Those are smaller bits over there. I put through a bunch of red in here because I thought it would be kind of fun to have some pops of red in here. So I'm going to put the reds over here. And then what I'm going to be collaging onto is when I first started doing the journal thing, I got a bunch of papers, like paper pads, 12 by 12 paper pads. This is before I used any digis or anything. I just started using paper pads, and I still enjoy doing that. But I also really enjoy people's digital kits. Like, I think there's some just utterly creative people out there. So I have now, however, it got to the point where like sometimes I would just buy stuff because, oh, it was on sale. I know that there are some of you who are listening to me right now going, yep, I can raise my hand to that. So like I would look at a paper pad and be like, oh, well, I don't know if I'll even ever use that, but it's on sale, so I must have it. Yep. So I will raise my hand and say I did that for a while, and now I have paper pads that honestly I just don't use. They're not the style that I work in, So I have found that I can just do my collage work right on top of those. See are you getting the general feel of this kind of, this is like, autumn. This would be a good autumn type of feel over here. Look, I'm sorting more. I'm a sorting machine these last few days. So anyway, if I use those paper pads that I don't really work in or use anymore, then I feel like at least I'm using them. They're not just sitting there going to waste, and they give me a good substrate to work on. Okay, so this was one whole sheet. And now as I'm looking at it, for the life of me, I can't remember why I had this sheet in there. But whatever, we'll use it since it's the first one on here. And it's this darker craft paper. So, but I think because I don't see any obvious blemishes here, so I think what I'll do is preserve this side and craft on the, or collage on this side, because then you would still have this. Yeah, I don't see any glue bits. Maybe it just happened to get in there by accident. Now, also, as most of these things will be either Mod Podged eventually, you know, when I cut them into tags or something, or they'll for sure be sewn around, maybe over and around, and, you know, like Franken-Page style or something, or other things will be glued on top of them, but they'll all surely be sewn around once I've cut them. I'm not, you know, because I'm about to do a ton of collage, I'm not using my more expensive glue sticks. And also, I have left over from my classroom, once I took my classroom apart and everything, I have all the glue sticks I could ever want. Now, you do blow through these little tiny babies pretty quick when you're doing this kind of thing. Sometimes it's like one stick per page or whatever, but clearly you see, even if that were the case, if that were the ratio, I have enough glue sticks to collage some things. So let's get to work. Without further ado, you guys know the general gist of this. Let's just have some fun, and we can do some talkie-talkie. This is from a magazine. It might be, oh, I also have a little like workstation garbage can that I always keep on my desk. I'm going to chuck the cover in there because I know I'm going to blow through this glue stick. This is one that I had already been using. I for the life of me cannot remember the name of this magazine right now. It's the scrapbook one. It's like a paper craft one, but we can't actually use it. We're not supposed to use it, I guess, for selling Daphne's Diaries. That's what it's called. Also, you'll notice I am resisting the urge to ink anything, because if I were inking, we would be here for the next, well, you wouldn't be, because you'd eventually be like, peace out, dude. But I'd be here for the next, 30 years to get this much done without inking, or with inking would take forever. So and my other goal is to not overthink it. So I have a general game plan of laying down a large area, covering the background with large scraps, and then putting some smaller pieces over the top to kind of bridge gaps and stuff. That's literally my whole plan. Put down some long pieces. And I don't even mind if they get some glue on them, because this glue stick dries pretty well. And honestly, you really can't see the glue stick over the top. And once I put Mod Podge on top of things, if that's what I end up doing, you won't see it anyway. Let's do this little guy. Oh yeah, and make sure that hole is got something behind it. Whoops. There we go. And trying to make sure that I turn my piece so I don't collage all in one direction, because that's another thing that I tend to do. This is kind of like a get out of your head thing. That's ripped off there. It's kind of a get out of my head thing, because I tend to just collage all in one direction and try to make it, symmetrical, or make sure if I have red on this side, I have red on this side too in the same areas or whatever. Trying to get out of my head. Trying to just go with the flow. Let's see. This side might be a little straighter. And sometimes if I can't get a straight edge, I just kind of go over the side a little, which is fine because that'll all be able to get cut off. And my desk is a gluey mess. My craft mat, my glass craft mat. But, you know, that's the beauty of these glass craft mats is they wash off so nice. Even just like I keep baby wipes up here and they wipe it right off. Oh, I should get some of those glass cleaners. I wonder if those would work. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go torn edge on that. They're like baby wipes. They're like Clorox wipes, only they're for glass specifically. We don't have them. We just do glass cleaner. But let's do a chunk of this. This is Nick the Booksmith's beautiful marbled papers. Oh my gosh. I've never done it, and I don't know that I ever would do the marbled paper thing just because it looks like it's requires all kinds of equipment that I don't have and knowledge that I don't necessarily possess. And also I'm kind of afraid that if I did end up trying to figure out how to do all of it, I might get a little obsessed and then it would become a problem because I'm already obsessed with this. As we can see, I clearly have enough paper scraps. But it is such a satisfying, like mesmerizing process to watch her. That is some thick paper. To watch her do the marbling stuff. I could seriously watch her do that for a while. It's so satisfying when she's dragging the little tools through to create the patterns. Oh, that looks like something I would really enjoy doing, which is another reason that I'm not doing it because I don't need any more things to do. But I'm very, very glad that she does offer some of them as some of her works. Let's see, maybe upside down. Maybe just stop trying to cover the whole corner because it's not going to happen. I do like that she offers them as digital kits because then I get to have some of them, and they do print out very nicely. And you can, there's all kinds of uses for them. Let's put some of this, the pieces that like have a white edge, I either rip them off or I put them on the edge like this where you won't see the white edge. However, if you're being truly organic about it, you could let the white edge show through. But in this case, I don't know that the white edge would match the overall aesthetic of this color scheme. But yeah, guys, as I went through, as I pulled out layers and layers and layers of papers, I was having a trip down memory lane because all of these papers were coming out in like stratified layers. So like you could tell what I had worked on. Not on the top so much because I would sort through it. And so, not sort through it, but I'd, rifle through it trying to get, leave those numbers there, trying to get stuff for whatever I was working on at the time. But as I got down towards the bottom layers a little bit more, you could totally tell what I was working on at the time by what papers were there. So if I was doing like a flower journal, all of a sudden there'd be a bunch of pink and flowery scraps and ephemera bits. And then you'd go down a little bit more and all of a sudden it was a bunch of, like cut-offs of Tracy Fox kits. So I must have been doing a design team project. Excuse me. I think I need some more bubbly. So yeah, it was kind of, for that reason, it was kind of fun to sort through. And it kind of did remind me, look, here I am trying to find the silver linings, right? It did kind of remind me of projects that I had worked on and maybe things that I wanted to revisit. Although, I have like a lineup 10 years long in the making right now, so I'm not hurting for ideas, that's for sure. Let's see. I like that. These lights are making this, when I look in the viewfinder, these lights are making this look so much more washed out than it is in person. It's actually a much richer color scheme I'm really liking. At some point, again, coming back to the whole I'm not hurting for ideas thing, at some point I would really like to do some boho journals. I have got a box. This is the only thing that I've got a big box full of, like, stuff that I've been kind of putting aside for. But boho journals, I've got a big box full of enough stuff to do several journals, some fabrics, like a bunch of Indian sari stuff that I'm really excited about. And this is the other thing too. I keep trying to remind myself to start in the middle and work out. Next one, guys. We'll do that on the next one. So yeah, the Indian sari fabrics, and I'm kind of excited to start those. See, we're already getting down to the end of this one. But I had already used this one a little, so it's not going to be the true like 1 glue stick to 1 collage page ratio. Also, this stuff reminds me so much more of Elmer's paste. Did you guys use Elmer's paste when you were kids in school? Okay, that one's toast. Next. Ooh, this one's fresh. See the fresh tip on there? That won't last long. I like this side. I was also, this is like my therapy session right now, guys. You're listening to me self-process my scrap bin. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. As I was going through, I was also like, I really like this piece of paper right here. It's got cute little, it's not cute, but look, it's got shadowed writing. It's got kind of watercolor layers. It's a really nice looking piece of paper. And it was all I could do at first, and then I got way more ruthless. But at first, it was all I could do to not set those things aside and say like, oh, I'll come back to those, or, you know, I'll keep those in the scrap bin because I'll use that. Because I think that's maybe part of what has been happening all along, is that I keep justifying keeping, or it's just easier to chuck them in the scrap drawer. Either way, that's what I was trying to avoid redoing, and I found myself doing it at first, and then I was like, no, I have to get ruthless. This little piece missing over here. So now, I should have taken before and after pictures, but if you listen to the intro, you will know that was not in my head at the time. And the before picture wouldn't have been necessarily possible because it would have just been the stuff laying everywhere, which I should have taken a picture of that because that would have been amusing for you all as well. Put this little piece of... Okay, so then once I've got the whole 12 by 12 sheet covered, all right, there, I think I've covered all of the, I've got this one little sliver right there, but I think I'll just glue something over the top of it and we'll be good. So once I've got the whole 12 by 12 covered, then this is where I go with some of the smaller bits and just put them in over the top for a little added interest, and like try to hide some of the like real straight seams, because I want it to look, I want it to flow better. I don't want it to look like a bunch of squares or straight seam, you know, straight things glued down. Also, when your fingers get super gluey, which inevitably if you're doing this, they will, I'll use the bottom of the glue stick to kind of be a smoother like this, because if you try doing it with your fingers, it just gets stuck to the paper. There you go, pro tip of the day. I don't know what this is. This is a piece of something. I don't remember. It looks like a piece of trim. But it's pretty, and it looks pretty right there. Then let's see. Where else do I need something? This is actually, these papers are all pretty busy. Like, they don't need a whole lot. But let's just, it's kind of a long chunk right there, so I'll break that up a little. Plus, honestly, the more layers I put on here, the stronger this substrate gets. This is another thing I had to overcome in doing collage, guys. More therapy moments. I used to not want to cover up things like this Eiffel Tower image right here, but people know that's the Eiffel Tower, and if it's covered up by a little chunk of stuff right there, it's not going to matter. They're still going to know that's the Eiffel Tower. And if they don't, then it's because they didn't know it in the first place. So then, here's the other thing that I found that was actually kind of cool, that looks kind of cool, is I was ripping off a few little chunks of pattern paper because they kind of look cool over the top as well. It's like another little layer. Oh. It's like another little layer here. And you can see what's underneath of the paper, kind of. It's like when you put tea bags down on stuff to kind of obscure the edges of it. Or not the edges, but just to obscure what's underneath it a little. But yeah, doesn't that look kind of cool? Oh, it doesn't, again with the not showing up well on camera. Let's put some down here. It's kind of hard to glue the paper itself, the sewing paper itself, because it wants to keep flipping up and rolling up on itself. But there is nothing precise about this type of crafting that I'm doing right here. This is definitely where the bottom of your glue stick comes in handy as a like a bone folder of sorts to do the burnishing of the stuff. Oops, pulled a little edge up there, but who cares? Collage, and it's torn now. Just gotta make sure if you've got little wispy edges, you get those stuck down good. But as it dries, like you saw me do earlier, you can always come back and re-stick things down. I'll put a little bit up here too. Where did that, oh. So here's another use for pattern paper, and another way to add another layer of interest to your substrates, masterboards, collages. I should have looked into this before because I was actually having this thought, but I'm not sure. I feel like I should be more sure on this, but I don't know why. But I'm not sure what the difference is between like what I'm making right now and a masterboard. Someone tell me in the comments, I'm sure you will. So there we go. I'm good with that one. Done. So see how the see how it kind of just gives it a layer, like if you put tea bag over something? But I feel like that just adds another extra layer of fun to these. So there's that one. Then I put them down below, and then what I'm going to do is, okay, here's a sheet of paper that I won't use. I'm going to take this off. I don't know why. And guess what I'm going to do with it, guys? Throw it away. That's right. I've given myself permission to throw away little things. See, why did I do that? Now I'm peeling the stuff that's now stuck to my fingers. I'm giving myself permission to throw away stuff that I won't use. Like those little strips. For some reason, there were 10,000 of those little suckers in the scrap bin. So I'm giving myself permission to throw some of those things away. I don't need to keep them all. Sometimes if I'm actively making a journal and I rip them off or I take them off of pages that I'm using at the time, then I will use them and try to make little tabs on things or whatever. But right now, I'm not. All right, this is a description of an odd family. The script, and you probably can't read this, it says sisters, 2 parents, and their children. I hope that the sisters are not 2 parents and their children. That's an odd little family. Some of these have good stuff on the front and the back, like that one paper that I showed you. Okay, this time I'm starting in the center and working my way out. Then you don't get such a stacked up look. Again, not that it truly matters. Like this is some 7 Gypsies paper, I think. And it's like good on the back and good on the front. So we'll have to maybe do a little bit. Well, here, I'm going to try and rip this little sentiment out if I can. Because that would be a little bit for on the top, I think. There we go. So we'll do some on the bottom. I try to put some bigger pieces on the bottom. Also, with my bigger glue stick, my bigger Elmer's, I tend to push harder because it's a much thicker glue stick. But let's see, let's put this upside down. These, if you push too hard, it just smashes them and then you get all that extra junk on the sides. Let's put a little hit of red in this one. See, it's encroaching. Stay back. That's encroaching. That's encroachment. You could lose 5 yards for that. I hope there are some of you who know what I'm talking about, because that means you're my kind of people too. Have all kinds of definitions of my kind of people. Let's see. Come up to the edge of that one. This is one of my favorite colors right here. This kind of dark red. If this gets too sticky underneath, yeah, if it gets too sticky underneath, I might just wipe it down really quick because it is getting a little sticky right now. Let's put some long pieces in. I had so many long skinny pieces like this in the scrap bin, and I've got a whole nother idea dreamed up for those. I only threw a couple pieces into these because I've got it, like I said, I've got another project. But you know, when you're cutting off, here's some more Nick the Booksmith. When you're cutting off, if you're going to use this in a book, and most of mine are 8.5 by 11, I need to cut it down to. So on one side, when you cut it to 11, from a 12-inch piece of paper to an 11-inch, you end up with a 1-inch strip. Well, I kept all of them, every single one of those. So I had 500,000 of those 1-inch strips. Yep, you'll be seeing that in a coming up video at some point here. And let's put that off the edge. So I think I've maybe made a decision in my head that I'm either going to, when I'm cutting them off of the papers for a specific project, I'm either going to try and incorporate them right into the project in a couple of ways that I normally do right now, or in the project in the way that I'll show you in an upcoming video, or I'm just going to throw them. Again, that will be another thing that I bin. I give myself permission to bin. Because nobody needs as many of them as I have. It's a stack this thick. but very skinny. Let's see, let's turn that. Let's go here. Ooh, I like that side too though. See, again, this is some of that great Seven Gypsies paper. Kind of like this with these colors on here right now. So we'll do that side. All right. All right. Yep, and this is the other thing I just did. I just like pushed my hair back behind my ear with my gluey fingers. So that's great for my hair. Glue hair. I definitely felt it as I was trying to brush my hair out last night. I could tell on the sides. And do you think I thought to like put my hair back today? No, of course not. That's thinking too far ahead, and these last few days have not been full of much of that. That's okay though. I've been watching lots and lots of other lovely YouTubers, as I have had some time to do. I've also decided that I am subscribed to about 500 papercraft channels. Like, I think I'm subscribed to all the papercraft channels. And I realized that I kind of just don't, I watch the ones that I watch because I try to keep up with, like, you know, as we film and stuff, we talk about our lives and whatever. So I try to keep up with their lives. Well, if I try to do that with all the people I'm subscribed to, holy heck, I would have I wouldn't feed my family, I wouldn't shower, I wouldn't have time for music ministry, because I'm subscribed to a lot of people. So I was going through my thing looking for a specific crafter and realized that I was subscribed to like a whole bunch of people that I hadn't even, I don't think, ever really watched more than one video of theirs. So then I started trying to watch through some of those. Then I started feeling overwhelmed because I was like, how in the world is that ever going to work? Let's put some of these people. Yeah. So maybe I try to watch, I try to keep things rolling. Like, I love to get a Gail video in at least every couple of days because she's just, you know, sunshine and happiness, and I love listening to her. Plus I pick up, you know, tips and stuff, or she's always featuring people's YouTube shops and showing Happy Mail that she got from them, or like new stamps and stuff that she was doing today, new stamps, and that's all interesting. You know, just for personal reasons, like thinking about things I could use. And purchases that I don't need to make. Gail can be an enabler that way. That's not going to fit all the way, so we'll go over here with it. And then I try to watch, like, you know, I've got some crafty friends on here that I try to make it to all their videos. Then the other thing I realized is usually, so the way I have my desk set up here, get that to the edge. The way I have my desk set up, I have kind of a shelf like thing right up there. See how it rubs red? You see that little hint of red there? This is because this is printed paper, so then when I wipe the glue off of it, it rubs some red on there. I have a shelf like up there where I can put my computer kind of out of my way, which is great. But then I find that I don't ever, you know, unless I have my computer right down by me, I don't comment a lot of times on people's videos because my hands are full of glue or something, or my computer, my keyboard's way up there. So that kind of makes me sad too. So then I think a bunch of these people don't even know I've ever watched their videos because I don't comment. And I love the comments. I love when people leave me comments. So you would think that would compel me. Oh, there's the end of another glue stick. Ugh. All right. I think after this one we're gonna wipe the mat, the glass mat. Chuck it. Next. Actually, after this one we'll probably be done for today. But I'm thinking about, and maybe you guys can let me know in the comments what if you'd be interested into this at all. But I'm thinking about either starting the alphabet challenge that everybody's doing, you know, all the cool kids, or possibly, I think it's Crafty Cat that started it, the color challenge. So either one of them, if I were to start one of them, which one should I start? Because I can't do them both at the same time, concurrent. There comes a point in every collage where I'm thinking, do I like how this looks? But then I'm always so, I don't think I've ever like been not pleased at the end of one. Sometimes it's just the getting there. See, that's what happens when I push too hard. It gets like a little ring of glue goobers, paste all over the sides. Ugh. Oh yeah, it's totally sticking to the mat now. And we'll put a little bit of more red in the corner, and then I'll put a few extra pieces on here. Through the middling. Okay. Now this is that little sentiment that I had ripped off earlier. So we'll put that on here. Start today with a grateful. See, that reminds me of Gail today too. She always says, have a grateful day. Well, maybe I'm just got Gail on the brain today. Okay, and a couple other, here's some little mushrooms. We'll put some mushrooms over here. There were a lot of these little pieces. Oh, it's like I glued it upside down. There are a lot of little pieces of my rip strips in there. Just like one little ripped off piece that I had decided not to use or something. Let's put this little flower over here. Printed this onto this cool like linen paper. It has such a cool feel, like texture to it. I think I got it on Amazon. I'm gonna have to look because I really like the way that printed off. Okay, I think I need something down here. Let's see, what have I got? Oh, I got this fun little reflective piece, and then this little piece of medieval mirage. So we'll put that like here. And then we'll put this has some little gold, it's handmade papers that I bought a pack of a while ago. There we go. I feel like I need something across here. Oh, here, I just have a little book. book page. We can glue that down right there. And I'll put a piece of this. Since I have it sitting right here, I'll put some right here. A little bit of pattern paper to finish it off. So then once I've let them dry to the touch, I put them under, I stack them up and put them under like a couple of stacks of heavy papers or like a piece of cardboard, and then weigh it down with some stuff to dry overnight so it dries as flat as possible. And then this one is like bright white on the back. Yeah, it's got little glue goobers. So at some point I'll probably come back and just glue coffee stain paper down over that before I cut it apart, because that's quite the contrast. So anyway, guys, we got 2 done, and I'm gonna wash my fingers out with a baby wipe and wipe down the table because or the glass mat, because it's gross right now. We got some pure baby wipes. It's been a long time since I've needed these for any other reason than wiping down the craft mat, but they work so well. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for participating in story time with Nikki, and and you know, send good thoughts my way on completing my piles of scraps, because as you see, just this pile, and there are more where this came from, will get me, you know, 3 or 4 more substrate things. So I guess we'll be seeing lots of videos of that coming up. But I have like a pile of blues, a pile of purples, a pile of like kind of yellowish orangish colors, which definitely had me thinking about the color challenge yesterday, since that seems to be where most everybody's downfall is orange. Anyway, guys, so thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know down below if you want to see me do the alphabet challenge or the color challenge. And I will see you again with another drawing tomorrow, and I keep teasing it, but at some point in here we'll draw for the 2 journals from my 2,000 subscriber giveaway. And until then, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, whatever time it is, on whatever side of this wonderful globe of ours that you live on. I hope that you're staying safe. I hope that you're able to get your hands on just your daily essentials that you need. Jamie, I'm still praying for toilet paper to come your way. And I hope that you're healthy. I hope your loved ones are healthy. And I hope that your mental health is holding up through this craziness. I know it's making a lot of people anxious. So I pray that everybody is able to just stay calm and peaceful, and to find things like collaging or crafting or whatever it is that you do to kind of take your mind off of everything and get into a more creative and lovely headspace. Take the time to do it. Hug your loved ones and spend some time. Anyway, I love you all, and I'm so glad and grateful for this channel and for you all. And I think if we can spread a little bit of joy here, well, doggone it, that's what we should do. So I'll see you soon. Until then, take care, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.